How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It is Freddy Inferno with my top 10 favorite cards from my Edgar Markov EDH deck. So, just getting right into it. This is my third video on Edgar. There will be links in the video up here in the top right to the first two. There is one where I'm talking about fixing the mana base for him, adding in cards with him, and then there's one with adding synergistic creatures in the deck. Both of those will be linked at different times in the video, so make sure that top right and hit the button up there and it'll take you to those videos. So without further ado, here are my 10 favorite cards in the deck, not including anything I showed y'all in the previous video. So put Edgar over here. At number 10, I have Crimson Honor Guard. It is a 5-drop, 3 generic and 2 red vampire knight with trample to 4/5, and its effect reads at the beginning of each player's end step, Crimson Honor Guard deals 4 damage to that player unless they control the commander. This is just a good card, I feel like, to get out, to make people play the commander. A lot of people, after you kill it once, sometimes even twice, they will kind of just leave it there in the command zone. They want to play their hand, they want to play what they have in their deck, they want to keep mana up for counter spells, things like that. This forces those commanders onto the field. 4 damage very quickly can add up, and it's 4 damage to each player. That includes myself. So if Edgar's not out, I take 4 damage from him. But it forces people to play the commander unless they're willing to take that 4 damage hit, which for the most part, people aren't necessarily looking to take that 4 damage. So I have Crimson Honor Guard at number 10 because it forces people to get their commander out if it's not out already. He's at number 10. At number 9 is an enchantment, Stencil Masquerade. Attacking creatures you control at first strike. Whenever a vampire you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter onto it, and you can cast this card for madness, which is the same as its regular cost. If you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its madness cost or put it into your graveyard. So I want to attack with this deck. There are a lot of the synergistic cards from yesterday's video that included attacking. When something attacks, against lifelink and death touch. When a vampire attacks, when each vampire attacks, my opponent loses 1 life, I gain 1 life. So I want to be attacking. I create tokens with Edgar. I get a lot of tokens out in the field. So attacking creatures I control at first strike, and then when they deal damage to a player, they get a +1/+1 counter. So when I'm attacking with a first strike death touch lifelink creature, no one's going to want to block that. So this can help them build up counters, get stronger, get bigger, and I win the game faster. So Stencil Masquerade, a card that's in the pre-con already, is my number 9 card in the deck. Number 8, Olivia Crimson Bride, the face card of the set. 4 black red for a legendary creature vampire noble. It's a 3/4 flying and haste. And when she attacks, I return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. It gains when you don't control a legendary vampire. Exile this creature. But there are plenty other of legendary vampires in the deck. So even if Olivia gets taken care of, there's Edgar Markov. There are other legendary vampires like the ones that I showed yesterday. We had Anawan the Rune Sage. We had Vito Thorn of the Dusk Rose. We have another Edgar in this deck as well. So Olivia reanimates stuff in the grave, and she has haste. I mean, haste and flying. It's just a really fun card to use. I really enjoy playing her when I do get to draw her. She's at number 8, mainly because of the high mana cost. At number 7, we have Imposing Grandeur. 4 in a red. Each player may discard their hand and draw a card equal to the greatest mana value of a commander they own on the battlefield or in the command zone. So Edgar being a 6-drop, you're paying 4 mana to draw 6 cards. I think this always is a win in my books when you're paying less mana than the amount that you're drawing. So you're actually paying 5 for 6 cards. But usually this is a great card to top deck late game when you have your mana set up. You're down to your last card or 2 and you need to draw some cards. Drawing 6 cards for 5 mana is always great. The backside to it is that each player gets this effect but not everyone's running a 6 mana commander. I mean, I play with play group that has some 2s, has some 4s, some do have 6s, but for the most part, most people around that 2, 3, 4 range. And Edgar being a 6, I'm always gonna plus on this card in particular. So that is at number 7. Number 6 is Bloodline Necromancer. It is a 4 and a black with Vampire Wizard with lifelink. When Bloodline Necromancer enters the battlefield, you may return target vampire or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is just a way to get another vampire out on the battlefield. With Edgar's effect, you play this, you reanimate, say they already counterspelled your Olivia, or they destroyed her. You reanimate Olivia. Because of Edgar's effect, you get 2 more tokens here, and then you have 4 creatures for 1, essentially. Because this is always going to bring back a vampire. Well, actually, Edgar's effect won't activate for this because it's on cast, so you'll get 1 extra vampire. I just read that. I almost forgot that. But yes, Edgar's effect only activates on cast, not on when they enter the battlefield. But still, you still get this, creates a token off of Edgar, brings back Olivia, and then when Olivia attacks, you bring something else back. Boom, Crimson Honor Guard. So yeah, this is a fun little combo that I love to have. Just being able to reanimate stuff from my grave and to bring extra vampires onto the field, it's a lot of fun. So this is number 6 for me. Bring up number 5, Midnight Arsonist. When Midnight Arsonist enters the battlefield, destroy up to X target artifacts without mana abilities, where X is the number of vampires you control. This will always activate for 2 in this deck at minimum because of the token that you get to create, which enters at the same time as Midnight Arsonist. Because this enters, stack activates, the token vampire on the stack enters before this does. So you'll always at least get 2 with this, and normally you will get more. Being able to destroy people's mana rocks can put you ahead very well in the game. Makes this a really fun card to use. That is why it's at number 5. At number 4, it's a very situational card. It's called Mob Rule. This is a card that's in the precon, and I think it's slept on. For 4 and 2 red, you get to choose one. You either gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until a turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until a turn, or gain control of all creatures with power 3 or less until a turn. Tap those creatures, they gain haste until a turn. When you're in endgame and you top deck this card, and they have a bunch of creatures that are already pumped up, big and ready to go and ready to defeat you, and then you top deck this, take control of all of them, win the game. This has won me a game before. This is why I leave it in the deck. But you never know. When you get it, and it's that perfect late game situation, this isn't for early game. This isn't for trying to win the game on turn 4. This is for about winning the game later on. Like when you're in a lengthy game, which tends to happen when you're creating tokens with Edgar, and you're probably facing other token generating decks. Mob Rule is the card that I really love to use. It's been really fun. It's won me a game, like I said, and I like really enjoy using it. It's a fun card to use. That's why I left it in here. It's not the best card because of high mana cost, but it is still very fun to use. Number 3 is Stromkirk Captain. 1 black and red for a creature vampire soldier with first strike. Other vampire creatures you control get +1/+1 and have first strike. So that makes all the tokens that are created get a +1/+1 and have first strike. So why wouldn't this card be one of my favorite cards in the deck? It just enables everything else in the deck. It gives everything else first strike because everything else is already a vampire, and they get a nice little pump as well with the +1/+1. So this like synergizes very well in the deck. It came in the deck. I recommend leaving it in the deck if you have this precon. Molten Echoes for 2 and 2 red. Molten Echoes enters the battlefield, chooses creature type. You of course choose vampires. Whenever a non-token creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste on exile at the beginning of the next end step. This has helped me clear a board with Markov Enforcer, who y'all probably recognize from yesterday's video. So when this is here, I play Markov Enforcer. It copies because of this. So there's another one. and then a token gets created. So there's another one. So this original one gets to attack up to 3 extra times. So it battles something for once for himself, once for the copy of himself, and then once for the vampire token. So that's 3 fights that he gets to just get, and it's such a great little combo activator. So that's why I really like Molten Echoes. It enables a lot of different things. It gets you extra, kind of just extra like fighting power. Like you get to have them fight things, and then they also have haste, so you can attack with that creature. And then, as we talked about in yesterday's video with the synergizing and the things that you want to attack when attacking vampires, when attacking vampires gain death touch and lifelink with a certain card, they trigger when a vampire attacks. Opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. All those things stack up, and with Molten Echoes, it becomes even more because you make token copies of those vampires. That's why it's at number 2. And at number 1, who else than Edgar, Charmed Groom? The Edgar from the set is 2 white and black for a legendary creature vampire noble. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. When Edgar, Charmed Groom dies, returns to the battlefield transformed under its owner control. So it is a 4/4/4 drop that pumps other vampires and that never dies, essentially. Because when it transforms into Edgar Markov's coffin, at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white and black vampire creature with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on Edgar Markov's coffin. Then if there are 3 more bloodline counters on it, remove those counters and transform it. So this Edgar creates tokens of vampires, which then could get pumped with lifelink, death touch, +1/+1 counters, all kinds of things. And then when they die, or when they don't die, you just have more fuel for the fire. And then this gets to turn back to its other side after 3 turns. I mean, it's just a creature that never goes away, and that creates other problems for your opponents to have to solve. That's why it's my number 1 favorite card in the deck to use. So quick recap. At 1 is Edgar. At 2 is Molten Echoes. 3 is Stromkirk Captain. 4 is Mob Rule. Let's give us a little bit more room here. At number 5 is Midnight Arsonist. At number 6 is Bloodline Necromancer. 7 is Imposing Grandeur. 8, Olivia Crimson Bride. 9, Stencil Masquerade. And 10 is Crimson Honor Guard. So 10 more of my favorite cards from the Edgar Markov deck that I use. These aren't the best cards. I do want to keep it as a precon for the most part, just because I think it's fun to use it that way. It's not too powerful, but you get fun card interaction with it though. Yeah, if you have any if you have any upgrade suggestions for the deck, drop them in a comment down below. Make sure to like the video, share it with any of your friends that like Magic, or share it with your mom. Doesn't really matter. She'll probably like it too. That being said, this is Friday Inferno, and I'm out.